open session. I'm sorry, I'll repeat. Sorry. Let's go ahead and get started with announcements, open session, and public comments. Do we have any announcements or public comments? Okay. Move on to administrative, starting with roll call. So we have myself, Chris, we have Joe, we have Skip, we have Kevin. Have I missed anyone? Okay, next order of business would be the approval of the minutes of meeting from
May 10.
Yeah, May 10. Thank you. I had a bad date on my little crib sheet. Okay, so the minutes had been sent out earlier in the week. Hopefully people have had a chance to read them. We can take a little bit of time now, and then when people are ready, we can entertain a motion to approve. Okay, do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that the minutes from May 10th, 2021 of the Wellfleet Dredging Task Force Committee be accepted as written.
And a second.
I second it.
Thank you, Kevin. We'll move on to a vote, starting with Kevin.
Aye.
Skip,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
and Chris. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Next item is an update on the permit activity. Joe, if you could provide such an update.
Sure. Our lobbyist is at work. He is coordinating his efforts with our congressional delegation. He has made an appointment this week with one of the top people at the Army Corps of Engineers office in Washington, D.C., to do a review and discuss the matter. So we should know something by the end of the week, what kind of meeting it was and the outcome of it. So that's pretty much it at this point. This is, of course, for Area 2.
Yes, yeah, of course. That's encouraging. I mean, the mere fact that there is activity on it is very encouraging. Anything else on permit activity? Any questions? Okay, we'll move on to engineering updates and contract stipulations. We had our weekly call with GEI this past Wednesday. A couple of items to note. The paperwork for the amended permits was submitted on May the 11th. As we had heard previously, Massachusetts DEP is going to want some sampling, presumably grab samples. And so the submittal included a grab sample plan. GEI expects to hear back from DEP in a few weeks, presumably with approval of the plan. and then they'll go out and do the grab samples and run the analysis and produce the report. Also on that call, GEI is updating the schedule, and we went through it. They're updating it with the dates that we have issued to them. You know, so we had that little bar chart schedule that I made. His first pass didn't include all the updates, but his next one will include the updates as well as the actuals for items that have occurred, such as submitting the amended permits. The next critical activity, I would say, for GEI's work for us is issuing the RFP by June 1st. This will be the RFP that goes to the contractors, you know, publicly advertised, et cetera. So between now and June 1st, we will get a draft from them for our comments. And I have a few other comments in a minute about the RFP, some things that we've talked on this call and will incorporate in it. The town does need to issue the contract or the approval for the RFP, and Joe has been in recent conversation with the assistant town administrator who will be working with us on issuing that paperwork, right?
Yes. The initial outreach was to Harry Turkanian, and when I touched base with him a couple of days ago, he stated that he could not do it, that he is working long hours on the warrant, getting ready for the town meeting, and he just doesn't have the time. So I spoke with the assistant town administrator, who is a licensed procurement officer in Massachusetts. And that person is receptive to working with us. So we agreed that we will submit the RFP with our entries and then discuss it from then on.
I have a
I guess
question.
Go ahead.
When I started this, Mike Travato was on as the assistant. Isn't Rebecca supposed to be attending these meetings as the assistant town administrator?
No, she is not required to attend these meetings.
Was Mike required?
No.
Okay.
I've been filling her in. She's in transition. She's from the other end of the state and is attempting to purchase a home here. And until she can do that, she's been coming, trying to come a couple of days a week for at least 2 weeks out of the month, if not more. In my last conversation with her, she was not making much progress in purchasing a home. The inventory is so low and the prices are so high. But we have telephone contact with her, and she's working on projects, you know, electronically.
No, it's just that, as I said, Travato was pretty much on every meeting with us and provided some valuable feedback, it seemed. But he wasn't required to do that, so it ended my question.
You know what go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chris.
Well, what I was going to say is what we should do, what I should do is, you know, for these meeting invites and et cetera, they used to go to Maria. It would seem like maybe now the invites should at least go to the ATA.
That
Sure,
sounds-
you can. Go ahead.
I'll need her email address after
Sure.
the meeting. Someone could send it to me.
Yeah, I'll get that to you. In my opinion, I don't believe the assistant TA in the past nor now could really provide any more information that we would need at this point in time.
I think what we'll do once I get her address, or you can send it to her. It seems like we should send her, and this is Rebecca. What's her name?
Look,
we would send her the contract stipulations, because eventually I would assume she would look at those and possibly send the whole thing off to town council if it's deemed appropriate.
Well, that's the plan we worked up, that she would
Yeah.
assist us anytime in any way she could.
Okay, so do you want to send her the contract stipulations, or you want me to forward them when I get a chance?
Regarding the present RFP?
Yeah, the 3 items, I had some.
Yeah,
proposed language.
why don't you and I talk about that tomorrow
Okay.
morning? And we can get together so that we are including everything.
Okay. Continuing on with the recent engineering updates and the recent call. GEI, per something we discussed on one of our calls here, they did reach out and notify potential bidders that the RFP is coming out. So Dan Robbins reached out to Cashman, Burnham, AGM, and Brennan as of last week. It will be publicly advertised, of course, but this was just to let them know it's coming on or about June 1st. We also had asked for a list of permit expiration dates from GEI, so he provided that last week as well. That's another thing I can bundle up and send out to people on this call in the next few days. For the RFP, we started having a little bit of a review both on our previous DTF call and on the engineering call. We agree we're going to enforce and coordinate weekly meetings when they're doing the dredging work, and that'd be the contractor, the engineer, the harbor master, and DTF. We're going to require a dredging plan showing the sequence from the bidders to be submitted with their bid. We don't anticipate imposing liquidated damages, but we believe we will structure the package that if they don't achieve the elements for substantial completion, then they'll have to remob next season at their own expense. We still need to develop the list of town preferences that we will discuss at the pre-bid, so we have a little bit of time on that, but we should still be thinking about it. And then we also need to have a conversation about what do we want to specify is necessary for the dredging contractor to achieve substantial completion for 2021, be it in the form of minimum number of yards, maybe some specific areas that have to be completed, as well as minimum number of yardage. So be thinking about that, and we need to discuss it on our next call. And that's all I have for engineering updates. Any questions or additional observations and comments? Okay, that takes us to funding grants. No known updates on that. Again, for the first one, for the Massachusetts Dredging Program, typically they will be making their award somewhere between now and I would say probably mid-June. So we remain optimistic on that. And Seaport Economic Council, as a reminder, we sent the application in, so it will be reviewed at their August meeting. The action item list was issued earlier this week. It's been updated. Are there any new items that anyone wants to add to that list? Okay, next topic is our next meeting, be it the 24th or the 31st. 31st is Memorial Day. So open to discussion on when we should schedule our next meeting.
Well, we could go 2 weeks, but one thought might be to have it the day after Memorial Day on a Tuesday.
Yeah, in looking at it, and I should have said this earlier, I think I would propose next week, the 24th, because we're going to want to put the finishing touches on any opinions we have for items to go into the RFP. So what I would like to do as a minimum, if we meet next Monday, is at least concentrate on the RFP, mostly the things I just rattled off about it, and make sure that we're all on board and we have a consensus for any items we want to have added to and or included in the RFP. So I know we've suddenly turned into a weekly event, but I think the timing of the RFP for dredging would suggest we should meet next Monday, the 24th.
Yeah, and people have comments or suggestions, please email them out before the meeting so we have time to absorb them and can come to the table with our thoughts.
Yeah, good point.
So we're looking at the 24th
Correct, at 7 o'clock.
at 7 o'clock. Yeah. Sounds good.
And I think that's a better way to go, is to keep this thing progressive.
Yeah.
In and out.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Go ahead, Skip.
I make a motion that the dredging task force meeting of the 7th, today's the, that the meeting, we're on the 17th of May, be adjourned.
Hey, Kevin, Kevin Skip's motion was much more formal than yours. I heard your motion in the form of, okay, let's go. Okay, we need a second for Skip's.
I'll second Skip's motion.
Roger
Good.
that.
Skip.
All right. Okay, voting, Kevin,
Aye.
Skip,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
and Chris, 4-0. Okay,
All done.
Thank you.
thank you, everyone.
Have a good night.